Call him Wi-Fi, call him the sheriff, call him whatever you want, but the fact remains that rookie defenseman Arber Xhekaj is the latest Montreal Canadiens player to get bitten by the injury bug. Will he be out long term? Well, today on the show, I'm going to give you 3 players who could be the Habs' next man up. It has not taken long for young Arber Xhekaj to capture the attention and be a number 1 fan favorite, not only in the city of Montreal, but really starting to generate around the NHL in general. And nothing gets the crowd going or perks up attention more than when Xhekaj drops the mitts for a fight. We saw that he did that in a recent game against the Edmonton Oilers, going up against Vincent Desharnais. And after that bout was finished, Arber Xhekaj took off straight for the Montreal Canadiens dressing room, his right arm hanging kind of limply by his side. And we saw on video that as he exited the ice, he looked at the trainers on the bench and very obviously pointed at his right shoulder. So it is a guess that it is a right shoulder injury that's keeping Arber Xhekaj out of the lineup right now. The Montreal Canadiens, of course, then coming out within just a day or so saying that he's going to be out indefinitely until they determine the nature of the injury and what his rehabilitation process is going to be like. On today's show, I'm going to talk about 3 possibilities who could be the next ones recalled to Montreal for a look on the blue line. Oh, and it's also possible I might sneak a bonus player in there too. You'll have to watch to find out. Well, first, let's talk about kind of the scenarios of the ways that Habs management could go with this. If he's going to be out long term, perhaps they'd first want to go in a way where they're not necessarily looking for someone to audition per se, but instead they want just a reliable older player, veteran player that they know that they can plug in on the third pairing, and that would be recalling Corey Schueneman from Laval. Corey Schueneman has spent time with the Montreal Canadiens. He's played at the NHL level with the Canadiens organization before. He is consistently a top pairing defenseman for Laval, and so far this season, in his 42 games played, he has 5 goals and 13 assists at the AHL level, and he's just one of those reliable defensemen that you can put at the bottom of the lineup, but you know that he's going to, he knows what to do, he works hard, and he can be a good mentor for younger players. So Corey Schueneman is of course a possibility. Now, if the Montreal Canadiens instead wanted to stick with this theme of development and auditioning young players and seeing what they're capable of, well then perhaps Mattias Norlinder could be the one who gets recalled again. Now, Mattias Norlinder's numbers aren't as flashy so far this season. In his 42 games played, he has 10 points, a goal and 9 assists, but he does have consistent growth, and he is contributing. This is a case where maybe you just want to take a look at, okay, let's get him out of his comfort zone and let's see what he has to offer at the NHL level. Let's see where his development is at. And even possibly, let's let some other NHL teams take a look at him and remind him that they're there, and maybe he gets packaged together in part of a trade deal coming up, and he gets an opportunity with some more space to really kind of come into his own with a new organization. Who knows? But Mattias Norlinder is absolutely an option for a young defenseman to call up in place of Arber Xhekaj. Before I move on to player number 3, I'll just take a moment and ask if you've been liking this video so far, if you're enjoying the information and want to see more of our videos of Habs Hockey Report every week, then won't you take a moment and just tap that subscribe button, hit the like button, and make sure you tap that notification bell so that you don't ever miss an episode and you become part of the subscriber family here at All Habs Hockey Magazine. Going along with the young defenseman and could even potentially showcase as somebody to package would be William Trudeau. William Trudeau is a guy who's used his opportunities as next man up in Laval, because with all of the injuries and call-ups that Montreal has had, it has depleted the Laval Rockets roster, and it has given William Trudeau in his rookie season a much bigger role and responsibility and ice time, frankly, and he's taken full advantage of that. In just 35 games played, 1 goal and 12 assists. He's a bit of a playmaker when he's on the ice. He has consistently been the top pairing defenseman with Corey Schueneman for at least the last handful of weeks. And William Trudeau would absolutely be another option for the Montreal Canadiens to bring up and take a look and see what this kid can do. You know, the difference with Norlinder's just slightly older. He just hasn't gotten as far in his development because he has had injury difficulties. And so he's kind of still trying to get his footing, whereas William Trudeau is in his rookie season and he's already making pretty decent strides. And so the Canadiens might want to take a look at him at the NHL level and see what he's capable of. Now, I'm going to throw in a bonus player here, and that is Logan Mailloux. We saw just a few weeks ago that the Habs took advantage of a rare opportunity to be able to use an emergency status to recall Owen Beck from the CHL just for a single game and take a look at where he's at in his development because, quite frankly, Owen Beck is having a very successful season in the CHL. You could apply the same logic to Logan Mailloux. And quite frankly, Logan Mailloux would be probably more deserving of the call-up at this stage of the season than the 3 players that I just spoke about. Why? Because Logan Mailloux, in his 43 games played so far this season, has 20 goals and 22 assists. Logan Mailloux, defenseman, with 42 points on the season so far. He is having an outstanding season in the OHL. So why do I only have him as an honorable mention? Well, remember, Gary Bettman was asked about Logan Mailloux's eligibility to play in the NHL when he recently spoke prior to a Montreal Canadiens game. And Gary Bettman informed reporters at that time that he and the NHL had not yet been approached to go through the eligibility approval process for Logan Mailloux to play in the NHL. That hasn't happened yet. And so that's why I say he's not included in one of the top 3 possibilities, because as of right now, he does not have the eligibility status to play in the NHL. Could that happen rather quickly if the Montreal Canadiens were to approach Gary Bettman in the NHL and ask for that approval? I imagine it could, but the fact remains is that has not happened yet, and so it's why I don't have Logan Mailloux as one of the top 3 players who could be the next in line with Arber Xhekaj out of the lineup. So there you have it. That's my thoughts. It's either going to be a Schueneman, a Norlinder, a Trudeau, or as a long shot, if some things fall into place, it could be Logan Mailloux. I don't see the other members of the Laval Rockets blue line being next in line. Guys like Tori Dello, Madison Bowie, Nicholas Baudin, Olivier Galipeau. Those I likely would see those stay in the AHL. Keep in mind, however, there's 2 guys who could have been on this list that just aren't available because they're out long-term with injury, and that is young Gianni Fairbrother and also Otto Leskinen, who quite frankly could have contended for a roster spot this past fall if there weren't so many young Habs defensemen that were top prospects for them to make the roster. So there's also, let's not forget about Gianni Fairbrother and Otto Leskinen. They're out long-term right now, but could have been in the mix if they were healthy. Hey, speaking of trade season, that's my feedback form question for you this week. Do you think that Hughes is missing out on opportunities? We've already seen some big trades go down, and I'm not suggesting that Kent Hughes should have been a part of those trades, but do you think that he is playing the long game a little too long, or do you think that he's kind of right in the mix and now is when really things should be heating up and you expect to see a lot of trade action with the Montreal Canadiens involved? Leave your comments and answers to that down below. I look forward to hearing what you have to say. And I actually had plenty to say after Kent Hughes met with the media a couple of weeks ago to give his mid-season report and talked about the state of the team and the state of the organization. And you can hear my take on all of his comments in this video right here. So check that out, and I'll see you again next week.